I'm here with former President Nightmare. Good evening to you. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me on the show. I think it's been almost 3 years since I was last on.
Yeah, it has been, and quite a lot has changed. New city, for example. Um, you've been busy with your life, so in the best way possible. How have you been? What have you been doing these days?
Absolutely. I remember the last time you guys came and visited me in the Rose Garden, final days of my presidency. But I've been good. So I left Roblox after my presidency. I sold all of my limiteds, which I used to help buy a car, which I'm really happy about. But
You
I've been
sold
in college,
limited, and you were able to afford a car.
so I was working at the same time. That money. So I got about 1,200 to sell my stuff. So I was able to use that, my work money. Got myself a nice ride.
Damn, how's it been?
It's been good. Besides that, I've been in college. Right now I'm studying history and business administration with a minor in finance. I'm really excited about that.
Nice.
And
I've been doing
I'm
the
looking
same.
forward to the future career, future job.
I can feel you directly. I'm studying journalism myself with minor in political science. So it's
Awesome.
quite crazy how this whole group has gotten me into the career that I've been wanting. So when you left the presidency, what were the things you took away that I guess you could use in real life?
So I think one thing I learned a lot is you have to be a leader. So I know when I inherited the presidency, we had a lot of infighting from my cabinet, but being a strong leader, I was able to assert my own dominance and ensure that there was no pettiness, there was no infighting, no one was going to be there just trying to be a snake essentially. I was learning a lot about professionalism, how to write better grammar. So I feel like a lot of that I did take away from. And funny enough, so summer of 2022, I had an internship. It was a really cool internship with supply chain management. And, one of my fellow interns, he knew me from NUSA, which was really cool.
Oh, wow. How did y'all
Yeah.
connect at work?
So he was not involved in NUSA. He was involved, I believe, I want to say Latvia. So he was So I met him at a state visit when I went to Latvia. So he asked me if I played video games. I'm like, nah. One thing kind of led to another. I told him a bit about Roblox. I ended up talking about Nooser a bit. Told me he did Row Nations too. Gave him my username. He gave me his. We were sitting down there laughing about it. How we both met each other. In Latvia. I believe that was Nation. And now we had an internship together, which was pretty funny.
That must have been somewhat awkward at first, but did it connect to like a better working relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was a few interns there. Me and him, we spoke the most. We had a lot in common, and I only found out about towards the end when we were preparing to go back home. So we were talking about Warhammer 40K. I'm not sure if you know what that game is.
No, I have not.
So it's basically this fantasy game. I don't play it, but I've seen some of the videos about it. That's one thing how we first started connecting. We were also both big into going to the gym, which we spoke about a lot. I'll go to the gym with him when we had time off. So we really just had a lot in common. So
Wow, that was really interesting. Let's go back to your administration. You said there were some snakes out there, and if my memory joggles the mind correctly, were you impeached at all? Because I can't remember.
So me, I was very lucky. I didn't have an opposition when I was president, and I know when I inherited, we had a dead nation. So Reset 4K, he had a golden age, and I'll admit that. Him and Montague's were my presidencies were my favorite time in NUSA. It died when Bernard became, because he basically, I hate to say it, but he basically became a dictator. There was no opposition. Anyone that spoke out about him was crushed. And then he got blacklisted, and Lack took over and eventually Arnie. So it was basically that no one would be in the community. Obviously, this is when I came back in, when I found out Arthur became president. I had issues with the kid. And there's a lot of stuff about him that made me uncomfortable as a person. And so I wanted to come back just to impeach him. I was going to be that guy. And then, revolt against the Vinix happened. So I ended up, I sent it to SML. And that was pretty much the most active thing, was a Discord server in our community, which sucked. Not many people are going to DC on the lax term, particularly when he inherited the presidency. And obviously, Drellian became president. He was blacklisted, and I succeeded as president. And one of my accomplishments was the fact, we had an active community, which is something I really enjoyed. You could go to DC, there'd be people on. Obviously, a year prior to that, you could be on at midnight. There was at least 25, 30 people. You could be playing. Fortunately, we did not have that level of activity, but we still had it, be 6 o'clock on the weekdays, the weekends, be a full server. You could come and have fun. So that's one thing I personally really miss about Noosa, having an active community.
The community is what you miss the most out of it. Why, out of everything else in Noosa, why did you miss the community?
Because the community is what made it fun, Going back to your previous, question about whether or not I was impeached. I wasn't impeached because, I had a community that was revived. And so I didn't have an opposition. A lot of people liked what I was doing. Some controversial stuff that happened during my presidency, but it was all just to make Noosa active. That was my whole goal. So I was lucky I didn't have an opposition, but it was naturally that people really liked me a lot. I answered DMs, I spoke to people. And, Leo Vinnick, he was chased out of Noosa prior to me becoming presidency. And I think to me, when I first came in, I was always opposition. Josh Miller, I think it was Josh Miller's term when I got involved in politics. I was the one supporting Dan Spear, Romy Spear, both of their policies. Trying to get him out. Then we had next guy Antonio. I was involved in I was his opposition. Then we had James Montague, who I love being his opposition. I love talking him out. I loved calling him a horrible presidency. Definitely when Recess started running, I remember we had that opposition. Even now looking back at it, Montague was honestly one of my favorite presidencies, to be honest. But to me, that's something I miss. I remember in 2019, there'd be 2 full servers at Las Vegas, 2 full servers at DC. You could just go play different games. You go on team. You could just have fun. Even Congress, we had those midnight sessions where we were trying to impeach someone, trying to pass a law that wouldn't have been passed without the support. So that's what I miss the most about this community. Now it's just Discord is semi-active. It's you don't see people in game. You don't see that type of stuff in politics. I feel like it's just dead. And to me, I really just want that community. The community is what made it fun. There's a reason why we had such shitty technology and we survived well into 2021. In the beginning of 2021 with us, because we had that community that was just there, being able to play with each other, talk, have politics, hate each other, be each other's opposition. But without that community, Noosa is it's not the same. I mean, even with all of this new technology put out, it's not the same because the community is just gone.
I get you. I really get you. Even with all this new technology, you don't think it would be enough to revive Noosa back to its former state, you think?
So with that, I feel like for my presidency, I was really lucky. We had a lot of people come back because I wasn't I never held a cabinet position. I believe I was the only president besides our founder